Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. So you guys know what never happened? Uphold never delisted XRP, and guess what guys? Now they hold 2 billion plus XRP in their reserves. This one coming from Michael Branch here. Uphold, a leading digital financial service platform headquartered in New York, has reiterated that it has never delisted XRP despite the long-standing legal case between Ripple and the SEC. So that was one of the biggest sticking points, I think, with Uphold and its users. I mean, every other exchange in the United States was deciding to delist XRP out of an abundance of caution, and Uphold were the only ones who held out. So they just posted this recently. PSA, Uphold never delisted XRP. The financial platform mentioned in a recent tweet. The team further noted that their continued support of XRP is an attempt to always be there for the XRP community. And because of this, get this guys, Uphold now has 2.1 billion XRP in its reserve. So that is literally 2.1% of the supply of XRP, the total supply of all the XRP in existence. Uphold is one of the multiple platforms that have publicized their POR, proof of reserve systems, to assuage investor concerns. According to its POR report, Uphold claims to hold its fiat in crypto assets as a slightly over-collateralized ratio of 100.9%. The platform holds billions worth of assets, which it characterizes into tiers based on their class and the services enabled. So Uphold owning 2.1 billion XRP there for the XRP community. Of course, XRP on the daily is rebounding as I had predicted. We had come down after this recent high about a week ago, and now we are rebounding as you guys can see in the chart. So this last week we did see a bit of some downward pressure here for XRP. And now it's looking as though the trajectory is moving back upward. Let me throw it on the hourly just to show you guys a little bit more detail here. So we were holding on. We saw a couple of dips down, and now XRP moving to the upside. Since yesterday when XRP bottomed at just over 48 cents, we are now back up about 6.78%. So at its high, back up 9.2. But we are moving to the upside, guys. It looks like the trend is shifting. And again, over the longer time frame, this is pretty much just par for the course, a healthy retracement before we hopefully start to see new highs. So we got to break this level here. This is the latest level, 58.4. Hopefully we can get up. Well, I guess this would technically be the next level, 66 cents, give or take. But this is really going to be critical, I think. The 91 cent price mark. Once we get over this level, guys, I think the FOMO is really going to start to kick in. Don't forget, it wasn't too far from that former bull run high of $1.96. So, I mean, maybe we'll start to see this when we do finally get a verdict in the case. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin here on the daily is trading at about 28.5. So Bitcoin's up even a little bit here. And as you guys can see, we're slowly moving out of this upward pennant formation, triangular formation, ascending triangle, whatever you guys want to call it. Looks like Bitcoin is also poised for another move to the upside. So investors eyeing Bitcoin as well. And let me just bring up the price of gold here, because gold is also in a very interesting situation. If you guys remember, back a few days ago, I was suggesting that this bullish pennant pattern was going to break out. And sure enough, look at what we have seen, guys. Gold is again up above $2,000 per ounce. So $2,000 USD. Confidence in gold is rising. I just saw this from Going Underground here on Twitter. So recapping some de-dollarization news in just the last few months. First, we got India to settle trade in rupees with 18 different countries, including the UAE. We've also got Brazil and China to drop the dollar in their bilateral trade, worth about $171 billion in 2021. Saudi Arabia open to trading oil in the yuan. We heard about that this past week or 2 weeks ago. Yuan becomes the most traded currency over the dollar in Russia for the first time ever. So guys, these are all big sticking points. I mean, sticking points for two reasons. Sticking points in the classical term, and also sticking it to the US dollar. BRICS is starting stages of development. Its own common currency. As we know, Argentina and Brazil collaborate to create common SUR currency. Iraq's central bank greenlighting the use of China's yuan for transactions to reduce dependency on the dollar. U.S. economic hegemony and dominance over the global south under more pressure than it has ever been before. So this is a question that Going Underground is answering. Not only that, guys, I just happened to see this today. So the news just keeps piling up. There is no need to continue depending on the US dollar in investments coming from Malaysia now. This is from the president, or rather the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Datuk Seri Anwar. He said negotiations between Malaysia and other countries should use the currencies of both countries. According to him, Bank Negara Malaysia has also made a proposal to pioneer the said methods in matters of trade during visits to China using ringgit and renminbi. So wanting to use their own local currencies or their own regional currencies for those transactions. Here's a quote: "A more important matter is about the Asian Monetary Fund and the initial stage that I had proposed as the finance minister, which is not well received in Asia because at the time the US dollar was very strong." But now, guys, Malaysia is also suggesting, just another country to add to the list, Malaysia is also suggesting that they're going to go off the dollar and use their local currencies because they can. I mean, think of where RippleNet is prominent: the Middle East, the MENA region, right? And the Asian region, South Asia, a big market for RippleNet and RippleNet adoption, which we have been talking about over the last several years now. And now the BRICS countries, okay, so we've got Brazil, which is the one of the original BRICS countries that was in South America. They are also now looking to make deals in their local regional currencies, which would in fact continue this theme of US dollar displacement. So how is this going to look in Latin America and South America, respectively? Anders here posting this on Twitter. Ripple focusing on Latin America with their CBDC. So we've just got some new news. Partner Solutions for a director for central banks, Spanish speaking. Now this is a listing on Ripple's website for a new position, global impact. So this role may be based out of the USA, UK, or Brazil, and will be working heavily with Latin America and other Spanish speaking customers and partners. So we are now wondering, is Ripple looking to open up in Central America and Latin America? And does this have to do with a new CBDC operation? Things that make you go, I mean, considering where we are with de-dollarization, I think a lot of these countries, not just Latin America, but we'll use Latin America as the example. A lot of these countries now looking for other means, other tools in order to exchange value that does not rely on the US dollar. And maybe this is why Ripple has been so busy in the rest of the world and so successful in the rest of the world. We also had President Trump saying our currency is crashing and will soon no longer be the standard.
Our currency is crashing and will soon no longer be the world standard, which will be our greatest defeat, frankly, in 200 years. There will be no defeat like that. That will take us away from being even a great power.
So even former President Trump doesn't seem too happy about that. I don't know if you guys caught my Jassara Nassara video from a few years ago. President Trump, the new gold standard. I think it's probably time to update that video. If you guys didn't catch that video, though, I'll link it up here in the top right-hand corner. I should probably update it, though, because since 2020, I think I did it in 2020, we've got a lot of new news coming out about the financial system at large, of course, US dollar dependence, so on and so forth. Guys, I also happen to see this from Leonidas on Twitter. Supposedly, Coinbase has sent out an email. Rest assured, this is a scam. So if you guys are receiving this from Coinbase, please be sure to disregard this as a scam. They are saying here that XRP is in fact listed on Coinbase and apply for XRP staking on Coinbase, that you can get upwards of 19 to 27.2% APY. Total scam, guys. Just be careful. As we all know, of course, Coinbase delisted XRP, unlike Uphold. So yeah, they do not list XRP, at least not as of yet. Wanted to thank Leonidas for posting that. And I happen to get this email too from Ledger Nano. So if you guys are still looking to keep your cryptocurrency safe and you want to purchase a Ledger Nano, they are introducing this, or they've introduced this. Buy a Ledger Nano today and get up to $30 in Bitcoin from us. So again, I do have an affiliate link that links directly to the Ledger Nano website. You can use my affiliate if you want. You don't have to use it. It is in the description of the video. But Ledger Nano, obviously realizing, more and more people are looking towards cold storage solutions because of these crypto exchanges under scrutiny by the US government. So if you guys are still looking as well, again, affiliate link in the description of the video. You could receive up to $30 in Bitcoin. I don't know what the conditions are there. I'm going to keep moving along because I also wanted to mention this. $3.3 billion between Mexico and the US has been transacted using BITSO and XRP. So this is the liquidity that we are seeing through ODL partner BITSO. They recently disclosed an official statement that it processed $3.3 billion in remittances between the United States and Mexico just in 2022 alone. This figure represents 3 times the volume processed in 2021, underscoring the growth rate at which cryptocurrencies are leveraged for cross-border settlement due to their promise. So we are seeing, rough math here, 3 times the volume for these types of ODL transactions. And guys, this is just in one corridor alone. This is the US-Mexican corridor using BITSO. As I mentioned in the video I did yesterday, if you guys didn't catch that, I'll link it up here. It was right at the beginning of the video. That new infographic from Steedus on Twitter just showing us all the new ODL partners that Ripple has accumulated over the last several years. So the market is growing, Ripple's ODL growing across borders globally, maybe not so much in the United States, but it's because Gary Gensler and co are keeping Ripple held back. But eventually, guys, this ODL usage is going to explode, and I think we'll see it 10, 20 times as much as we are seeing today once we do have, full kind of sweeping regulatory clarity across the board. Right now, we just don't have it, and, we're just waiting with bated breath, as I've been saying, waiting for the verdict from the judge in order to get crypto clarity and XRP clarity specifically. I mean, it's going to get XRP price pumping like nobody's business. You think $3.84 was high? Well, just wait for what will come once we do get that verdict. It is interesting to notice all these peripheral observations here, like this one from Mr. Hubert. On the heels of the XRP lawsuit, did you know that the SEC not only did not charge Jed McCaleb, but actively fought and asked the court to prevent discovery against Jed McCaleb? Now, that's very strange. We know Jed McCaleb had been selling XRP over the years after he left the company, and yet he was never charged. He was never questioned in the Ripple SEC case. The guy has sold more XRP than all the charged parties combined, and the SEC is protecting private citizen McCaleb and his company. So I wonder why. This was back from 2021, March of 2021. Documents regarding Jed McCaleb, Stellar, or XLM are likewise demonstrably relevant. As you know, Mr. McCaleb was a co-founder of Ripple and appears to have sold more XRP than Mr. Garlinghouse and Mr. Larson combined. Your assertion that such documents are unrelated to this case is without bias. Things that make you go, don't they? Why is Jed McCaleb protected? Why has he not been even brought in just for questioning? It's these things that really get me wondering who's in bed with who. I mean, I think we pretty much know why the SEC is going against Ripple at this point in time, but the Jed McCaleb portion of it, I still do wonder, because we know all these blockchains are going to kind of complement each other, and the more adoption there is for cryptocurrency in the world globally, I mean, I'm zooming way out and looking at the bigger picture. Obviously, all boats will rise, right? So if we got clarity for XLM and XRP and Algorand and all the other coins, that's going to be good for everybody. So why these little mini allegiances, I guess, within the lawsuits that are, kind of the micro aspects of the crypto adoption and the crypto clarity? Why do we have these kind of glaring discrepancies, things that are continually making me scratch my head? Nevertheless, wanted to thank Mr. Hubert for pointing that out. Also happened to see this from Nerd Nation Unboxed, guys. A new Sum trading feature is now available on the XRP ledger, so check this out. Some developers are teasing a new decentralized exchange product on the Sum wallet. Some developers have let slip that they will release a new product for the XRP ledger native wallet that promises to improve the trading experience on the app significantly. Developers disclosed this in a tweet on Monday via their official Twitter account. Brace yourselves for a big reveal on Thursday. We're about to get your trading game up with this newest product. Get ready for the ultimate secure and seamless trading experience from Sum, with the emoji. Were we not supposed to know this? A lot of work has been going into creating this. Please stay tuned on Thursday. And so Matthew Fox down here, the Stoic Satoshi, just commented, Sum feels really comfy right now with all these other exchanges going down. We know Sum has been, regulatorily compliant, but I don't know if this is going to be available for U.S. clients or not. I'm sure it's going to be jurisdiction specific. Sum Wallet, another great option to custody your XRP. I just keep saying, though, I have to reiterate it, keep your cryptocurrency safe wherever you decide to custody it. Just get it off the exchanges, because who knows what's going to happen next. So anyway, wanted to thank Nerd Nation Unboxed just for posting that. Now, I wanted to get into some other interesting news with regards to US de-dollarization. Here is a clip from Forbidden History. George Soros in 2009. Now, we got to remember in 2009 what was happening with the economy. The economy was essentially crashing. This is the S&P 500, and we had this big collapse, 2008, 2009. And so I'm assuming George Soros was speaking about the US dollar. And to give you guys context, it was at this point in time when we saw an historic stock market collapse. This is what gave birth to Bitcoin, the idea of Bitcoin. People were questioning the economy and how robust it was. And there have been pundits from the beginning saying The US dollar is done. Even at this point, they were saying it was done. In 2008, 2009, they were saying, the government is just propping it up. Who knows how long they will prop it up until it really just goes bust. Well, fast forward 14 years in the future. It is 2023 now. And maybe now's the time. They propped it up for 14 years. But here's what George Soros said back then. Listen to this.
But the system we have now has actually broken down, only we haven't quite recognized it. And so you need to create a new one. And this is the time to do it.
In the United States, how worried are you about the budget deficit and maybe about the possibility of inflation?
Well, certainly a decline in the value of the dollar is necessary in order to compensate for the fact that the U.S. economy will remain rather weak, will be a drag on the global economy. China will emerge as the motor replacing the U.S. consumer. And, of course, it's a smaller motor because the Chinese economy is much smaller. So the world economy will have less of a motor. So it will move forward slower than it has in the last 25 years. But China will be the engine driving it forward, and the U.S. will be actually a drag that's being pulled along through a gradual decline in the value of the dollar. So there would be a slow decline in the value of the dollar, a managed decline. And that would be the adjustment that it needs to be accomplished.
Whoa, so a lot of things to unpack here. Again, guys, remember the time frame, 2009. George Soros predicting a whole bunch of crap here. Wow. First of all, he's talking about the decline of the US dollar, the managed decline of the US dollar. The US dollar has to decline in order for us to really kind of move forward financially, economically. China will be the engine. He did say that the Chinese economy was small, and at that time it was much smaller than it is today. And the US will be a drag on the economy. So US dollar dominance, essentially, what George Soros is saying, the decline in value of the US dollar is necessary. Fast forward to today, and are you really surprised that what's happening is happening? Also, let me point out who's doing this interview here. And somebody in the comments section was noticing this as well. If you guys are Canadian, you probably know who this freak is. Yeah, Chrystia Freeland. Yeah, guys, I'm not kidding. The same Chrystia Freeland who was chuckling, laughing when they froze bank accounts to these particular truckers in early 2022 and those contributing to the cause. And she has a history with interviewing George Soros, apparently. Now, this was 2009. Fast forward to today, and Miss Freeland has done quite well for herself. She is currently Canada's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance. So for you Canadians out there, I'm sure you probably know all of this, but for many other people, this may be brand new news to you. Basically, what this means is that if something happens to this butthole, she steps in and becomes the new Prime Minister of Canada. And not only that, she's also the Minister of Finance for Canada. And I hate to point it out, but she's also a member of the World Economic Forum. So is it any surprise that here she's interviewing George Soros? No, it's not a surprise. Really, this is no surprise to me. So back in 2020, this interview was picked up by this news outlet here, Spencer Fernando, saying, Chrystia Freeland interviews George Soros about bringing communist China into the, and I'm not going to say these words on the channel. I'm sure you guys can guess the reason. Concerns are being raised about this interview. Soros, who regularly uses his vast wealth to try and push for more open borders and policies that benefit global corporations at the expense of nations, states, and citizens, is a controversial figure, as you guys all know. While the Liberals are trying to rebrand themselves with the appointment of Freeland to the finance minister portfolio, Freeland and Trudeau are still pushing the same elitist policies that betray and devastate the working class, destroying good jobs, making everything more expensive while always allowing the wealthy elites to get away unscathed while the rest of us pay the price. Okay, but this is not it. I also wanted to bring this to your attention from Anders on Twitter. The IMF, okay, they're all connected. The WEF, the IMF, George Soros, these are the bodies that control the people that control the money. So the IMF has come out and said designs that promote CBDC adoption. According to the author, what would be high risk and low risk? So check this out, this heat map here. Obviously, red represents high risk, and then medium risk, and then low risk. Wholesale CBDCs in the low risk category. Look at what's in the high risk category. Complete anonymity and no fees. Meanwhile, over here, pseudonymity, which means you can kind of be anonymous if you have a username, but obviously the centralized body would know who you are. But it's interesting how they are positing this. Wholesale CBDCs would be very low risk for deposit intermediation, financial instability, and money velocity, while interest-bearing retail CBDCs are very high risk. Well, do you guys remember the clip I showed you in yesterday's video with Christine Lagarde talking about the digital euro and the rollout in October? I'm just going to replay you a small portion of this clip in case you didn't catch it.
So could you give us the latest in your thinking on the digital euro?
Sure, with pleasure. So what we have been doing is, first of all, exploring for a couple of years, then really investigating and trying to sort of decipher what the options were. And if the Governing Council was to decide, so in October, we would move into the beginning of the implementation, which is not a definite green light, but certainly one that would move us closer to operating completely with a digital euro.
Moving towards operating completely with a digital euro by October of this year, guys, October 2023. So the reason for this push? Do they know something we don't know? Mr. Man here on Twitter also posting this, that perhaps a full-on cataclysmic collapse is confirmed. Christine Lagarde has stated the digital euro is rolling out in October, as she just mentioned in that clip. So to issue it out, they'll create some other kind of issue here. Biden and the BOJ also confirm this. Follow the thread. I'm going to play you guys this clip, another clip from the BIS Summit 2023, that same event that Christine Lagarde was attending.
Mine is some uncertainty about the liquidity provision function in the system, especially during the time of crisis. So if the global or regional safety net can provide a liquidity provision function to the existing system, it can help the system as well as alleviating the so-called stigma impact of traditional safety nets, such as IMF program, for example. What I have in mind is some kind of digital version of IMF SDR, which can be programmed in advance so that they can actually provide liquidity automatically when the crisis happens, if the recipient are eligible with a certain criteria. That will can provide the liquidity as well as reducing the stigma impact that the traditional IMF program has. So all these kind of things, and the actually many criteria that Ravi mentioned and President Lagarde mentioned we're trying to incorporate in our next pilot.
So it's a little difficult to understand him, but essentially talking about liquidity when a crisis does happen. The banking system definitely needs a solution. You know, you couple this with what Joe Biden was saying.
Well, we'll get through at least this year. We do need more money, but we don't just need more money for vaccines for children eventually. We need more money to plan for the second pandemic. There's going to be another pandemic. We have to think ahead.
There is? Really, Joe? Do you have a crystal ball similar to that of George Soros? Guys, this is a coordinated event. There's going to need to be something to get us out of this mess. The dollar is going to suffer. Everything that's tied to the dollar is going to collapse, which is a heck of a lot. So XRP, 51 cents, just the beginning, but when it becomes that liquidity provider, who knows what high, stable price it will command at that point in time. That's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.